Okay, so now that we've kind of reviewed how we use base 10 blocks to divide, it's one of the many tools we can use to manipulate and visually represent what division is. I want to use this for the next part of our lesson, which is going to be how to divide decimals. Okay, so we're going to be using the base 10 blocks to manipulate them in order to divide decimals. So in order to do this, we have to change how we think about base 10 blocks. So right now, I have a hundreds in front of me, and as you know, every row or column, however you look at it, is a tens block. And then the little tiny ones are a 1. Okay, there's 10 ones in a tens block and 10 tens in a hundreds block. Well, to use them for decimal purposes, we are now going to look at this big block as one whole. Okay, this whole block is one whole. These rows and columns that you knew as tens blocks are now going to be tenths block. Okay, and then the little tiny ones that you knew as ones are now going to be represent hundredths. Okay, so as you can see, there's 100 hundredths in a whole and 10 tenths in a whole. All right, so now if we're thinking, I give you a problem and I say, what is 12 hundredths divided by 6 hundredths? You're going to want to look at the place value of the decimal. So when I give you 12 hundredths, you can think to yourself, okay, so I have 12 little tiny pieces because these represent hundredths. I have 12 of these, or I have 1/10 because there's a 1 in the tenths place, and then 2 hundredths because there's only 2 in the hundredths place. Doesn't matter to me how you look at it as long as you understand that. Okay, so in order to do this, I'm going to take a tenth. All right, I'm going to create a tenth over here. All right, this is going to represent the 1/10, the one that is in the tenth value for the number 12 hundredths. Okay, and then I still need 2 more hundredths. So the hundredths are the little pieces, so I'm going to take 2 little pieces. So now I have a 1/10 and 2 hundredths, or I have 12 hundredths altogether. Okay, so now what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to take 12 hundredths and divide it by 6 hundredths. I want to know how many 6 hundredths are in 12 hundredths. So you're going to break them up into groups of 6. I want 6 hundredths in each group because I want to know how many times can 6 hundredths be made out of 12 hundredths. So I'm going to count. That's 1 hundredth, 2 hundredth, 3 hundredth, 4 hundredth, 5 hundredth, 6 hundredth. Okay, so that's one group of 6 hundredths that I just made from 12. Now I still have some more, so let's see. That's 100th, that's 200th, that's 300th, that's 400th, that's 500th, and that's 600th. And that was all of my 1200. So I was able to make 2 groups of 600th out of 1200. Okay, I was able to make 2 equal groups. There's 600th in this group, 600th in this group. All together, it was out of 1200ths. Now I want you to think about something. Okay. I'm going to put these kind of back together. And I'm going to ask you guys, what if I asked you guys, now let's shift back to whole numbers for just a quick second. What if I asked you guys to do 12 divided by 6? How would you do that? Right, so there's a 1 in the tens place, so you would take a tens block. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. tens block, okay? How many digits are in the ones place? 2, right? So I'm going to take 2. Okay, so now I have 12. Okay, so if I were to do 12 divided by 6, what I'm asking you guys to do is find how many groups of 6 can you pull out of 12. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's one group of 6 I was able to pull out of 12. Then I got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I was able to pull 2 groups of 6 out of that 12. Does anybody notice anything? Does anybody notice anything about the answers? They're the same, right? The same answer to 12 hundredths divided by 6 hundredths is the same answer as 12 divided by 6. The only thing different that you guys did was we worked in a different place value. For the first problem, we worked in hundredths. For this one, we worked in tens and ones. Okay? But the steps that you guys took to get there are the same. And I want you guys to keep this in mind as we continue to work with division of fractions. I want you guys to realize that the steps for the division are the same. It's the place values that are going to be different, and the addition of the decimal point, which all that is showing is that you're in either the tenths, hundredths, or thousandths place value. That's all the decimal is there for. It's to show that we are working with numbers that are now smaller than 1, but the process for the actual division is going to be the same.